Welcome to another month and another TBR. It is now almost March, and that means it's time to figure out what I'm going to be reading in March. And how do I figure out my reads? Well, I play Timmies. That's how I do it every single month because I don't like making decisions and I need a board game to do it for me. I hope that's relatable to you all. If you are new here, hi, my name is Brittany, and every month I play my Timmies TBR game based around my love of Tim Hortons coffee. I am Canadian. I love Tim Hortons. It's just the way it is. And I let my Timmies board decide what books I have to read in the month. I have to play the board to get to the end. Once I get to the end, the game is over. And however many rolls it takes to get to the end is how many books that are on my TBR. The last 2 months, all of 2025, the board has been so nice to me. We've only had 5 rolls every single time, which is like the lowest amount I think that you can get through the board, like realistically. So I've been very, very lucky the last 2 months. Also, the prompts have been really good the last few months, and I've been able to get a lot of my mandatory reads on Timmies versus adding a lot of extra reads. So, will the board continue to be kind in March? We'll find out. Before we do dive into this month's rolls, we do need to kind of discuss last month because once a book goes on Timmies TBR, it can't come off unless I read it or DNF it. And there was one book from February that I did neither of those things for, so it's going to roll into March. I'm not going to get it done in the next few days of February, so we're going to bring it into March. And that is Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. I did not get to this. I didn't. Neither did my buddy read. Like, we're buddy reading this, Jess and Julie and I. None of us started this book, so it's fine. It's totally fine. It's not that big. I can read it pretty quick, but we are going to start the TBR off already with one book. So hopefully the board doesn't add too many, but let's jump into our first roll and find out. Roll number 1 is a 5. Gets us a coffee space and the prompt of set in summer. I'm actually thrilled to get this prompt of set in summer because I am over the winter. The last few weeks of weather here have been horrible. We have had so much ice fall from the sky and it's been like minus 20 degrees. Like, I am so over it. So I want to bring in the summer vibes. And maybe Timmies does too. So like, totally fair because maybe Timmies is over winter too. For this one, I'm actually going to be putting on my Patreon book club read for March and April, which does mean that it is probably unlikely that I read this in March, but I might. I tend to wait closer to the live show, which will be in April, but it's fine because it is the perfect summery read, and it is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This one, my Patreon book club poll, it was actually a very close poll. It was tied right up until the last second, and I think like one vote pushed this into being our actual read. I know this is the third in the Part of Your World series, and they are like interconnected contemporary romances. And I have read the first 2 books in this series and did not really have any intention of continuing for reasons. Okay, so let's talk about it. I loved Part of Your World with my whole heart. It was one of my best books of the year in the year that I read it, which was, I believe, the year it came out, honestly. Like, I loved it. Then I read Yours Truly, and I was so frustrated and mad at that book. First of all, there's a trope in there that I hate, but outside of that, the communication in that book was just so bad. And I hate miscommunication in a romance. And part of the reason that irritated me so much was because I had screamed from the rooftops that Part of Your World had some of the best communication I had ever seen in a romance. So then to have such horrible communication in the second book, I was perplexed. I found this at a book swap. So I took a chance on it. And also a lot of people that I know and trust have enjoyed this book and say it's back to the level of Part of Your World. So I'm going into this knowing I've adored one book in this series and really disliked another book in the series. I mean, I gave the first one 5, the second one 2. So this will be the tiebreaker of this series. Honestly, I don't even know who we're following in this book or how they're connected to the original like books. Now that I'm reading the back of this, it's coming back to me because I did recently talk about this in a book haul. So like I did talk about it fairly recently. This follows Emma and Justin, and both of them have a curse, or at least they think they have a curse. Because after they date someone, that person, like when they break up, will find their soulmate, their person, and find the person they're going to be together with forever. And this has happened multiple times. So Emma goes to a chat room on Reddit to explain her curse. And it's a chat room about being cursed in this way. And that's where she meets Justin. So they decide to date each other so that their curses will cancel out. And when they break up, they will find their soulmates, basically. And I'm assuming, because it is a romance, that they fall in love. Truly, I just hope this brings the summer weather to my life because I need winter to be over. Rule number 2 is a 4 with an iced coffee space and the prompt of random letter generator. Well, we are going around Timmies at a meandering pace. A 5, a 4. We are not getting through this quickly, which is concerning because every roll is at least one book. So the more rolls I need to get to the end, the more books on Timmies TBR. For this one, I got random letter generator. So I spun the wheel and got a O. And basically, I need to find a book that has a word in the title that starts with this letter. It does not have to be the first word in the title. It just has to be in the title, a starting letter of a word. For this one, I am going to get a mandatory read onto this Timmies TBR. I need to read The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy for Genre Blend Comp Club. If you haven't seen the announcement, I will link it down below. This is a new book club that Julie and I are running, and this is going to be the very first book we do. Basically, we are going to take genre blends. If you've missed the announcement, I'll give you a little quick look into what it is. And we are going to have 2 readers that mainly read one genre of the blend, 2 readers that mainly read the other one, and there are going to be teams, and we are going to talk about whether the book is a real equal of both or more one or the other, and what kind of reader it gravitates toward. Anyway, that's the plan. The live show's on March 8th, so I need to read this before March 8th anyway. And obviously it has the word of, which starts with an O. So here we are. I know very little about this book because Julie brought it to my attention and Julie picked it for the book club. But the reason I was sold on it was because I was told this is a fantasy romance that is influenced by You've Got Mail. Anything that is comp to You've Got Mail, I want to read it. I need to know. It follows Heart and Mercy, obviously, and they start having some sort of pen pal relationship and end up being each other, but they are enemies in real life, and then they come together not knowing it's them. You know, You Got Mail. And somehow it's fantastical. Anyway, if you want to join us on this book, I would love to have you. We have a discussion spot in the B&K Discord, which is always linked down below. So you can come over, hang out with us, and we'll have a live show, like I said, on March 8th on Julie's channel. And I am just patiently awaiting for my physical copy to arrive. I did order one, but it has not come yet. And I need it to come so that I can read it. But luckily, it's on my March TBR anyway, and it's not quite March yet. So it's okay if it takes a little bit longer in arriving. Roll number 3 is a 7. A donut space, and the prompt of POC author. For POC author, I am going to be picking up a sequel to a series that I actually started quite a while ago and haven't had the chance to continue. I recently got the book in my Christmas advent, so now that I have a physical copy, I've been dying to continue with this series, so now's the time. And also, I just want a couple of quick, easy romances, knowing I have quite a few big fantasies that I'm going to be reading during the month for buddy reads and projects. So I decided to slip this one in. And that is The Dating Playbook by Farrah Rashan. This is the sequel to the Boyfriend Project, which I really, really enjoyed. And I really liked the friendship group in that. In that book, we follow Samaya, and Samaya finds out that she is dating a guy who is also dating 2 other women, and he hasn't told any of them. And they find out on Twitter. Samaya shows up at the date of one of the other women who has messaged her to say hey, let's ambush him at this restaurant. So all 3 women show up, ambush this guy. It's great. It's fabulous. And they become really good friends. And I loved seeing these women come together against this two-timing man. I loved it. I really liked their friendship. And in this, we're going to follow another one of the women, and that one is Taylor. Taylor is a personal trainer. So this is also a sports romance, which we love to see, because she is going to help, who is his name? Jamar, who is an ex-NFL player, get back into the NFL and like get back his game. He needs to recoup after, something that's happened, and she's going to train him, and they're going to get back into shape. A photographer sees them together while they're training, takes a picture, runs it saying that like obviously they are secretly dating, and puts that out in the universe. They think that will actually work for his reputation and also for her to get like some publicity for her company and her personal training company. So they run with it and they fake date. So it's a sports romance with fake dating that I know I like the writing style of, and I know I love one of the characters because I already know them. Like, come on. And I mean contemporary romance. It reads super, super fast. And with how slowly we're getting around the board, I'm going to need some super fast books. Roll number 4 is a 6. Gets us an iced coffee space. And the prompt of cold word in the title. So Timmies wants summer, but also wants a cold word in the title. Well, you know what? Technically, summer is not here yet. So I'm going to go with the opposite season as my cold word and use the word winter and put on Wheel of Time, Winter's Heart. This is the 9th book in the Wheel of Time series. And remember how I said I had some chunky fantasies on my TBR? Here is one of them. She's chunky. It's not one of the chunkiest Wheel of Time books, but it's still large and in charge. And it's not necessarily the next one in the series I need to read. As of filming this, I have not read book 8, which book 8 is the smallest in the series. So it's not going to take me like too long to read. I mean, it's 600 pages. It's still going to take me a while. But I do need to read book 8 before I read book 9. And I don't know if I will finish it before the end of February. I would like to, but I can't make any promises. So that could mean that I'm reading both Wheel of Time books next month. Is this a bad plan? Maybe. But also, is this a mandatory read? Yes, it is, because I'm currently doing a Wheel of Time read along over on the B&K Discord. So like I'm supposed to read this anyway. So is it a bad plan, or am I just working smarter, not harder? Honestly, debatable, but here we are. We're putting it on the TBR. Roll number 5 is a 7. Gets us a Timbit space. And the prompt of the word book in the title. So very recently, I did a book haul reaction video. I will link that down below if you are interested in checking that out. And I did a vote of the ones that I hadn't read. Which book do you want me to read? And there was a tie between 2 books. One of them being Pride and Premeditation, the other one being Last Chance Books. So since it was a tie, I'm going to read both books. Obviously, this one fits this prompt of book in the title. So here we are. And the funny thing is, this is You've Got Mail too. So we are really leaning into You've Got Mail this month, and it's quite accidental. But I'm not mad about it because remember I said I love You've Got Mail. This is a YA romance, so that does concern me. It's probably why it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. But you all want me to read it, so we're going to give it a try. In this book, we're following Madeline, and Madeline comes home to help run her family's bookstore. Their bookstore has been in their family for a long time. It's a little, mom and pop shop, and they're trying to keep it afloat when a big box bookstore opens up around the corner called Prologue. The manager of the big box store is Jasper, and him and Madeline start kind of competing to keep the businesses afloat and be the surviving bookstore. Again, You've Got Mail. I don't actually know if there's any like mail component here, to be honest, but it really gives me those vibes. And I'm assuming a romance happens between Jasper and Madeline. So thank you to everybody who voted in that poll for picking this for me. And also thank you, Timmies, for aligning with the vote. Roll number 6 is a 6 and is just enough to get us to the end of the board and a mood read. So that was close. That was very close to not getting us to the end of the board, but it did. We got to the end of the board. We got to our mood read, and we are going to put the B&K Book Club book on this spot because it didn't fit for any of the other prompts and I need to read it, and it is often my mood read. Lately it hasn't had to be, but this month it definitely is going to be, and that's Allie Hazelwood's new book, Deep End. I'm so excited to read this. I have read every single Allie Hazelwood up to this point, so I can't wait to see where this falls in like my favorites of her books. I've heard fantastic things. I've heard it's quite smutty. I'm here for that. Plus, it's a sports romance, which I do love a sports romance. This one is swimming, though, which I don't think I've ever read a sports romance that is swimmers. This one follows Lucas, who is the swim captain, and Scarlett, who specializes in platform high diving. Neither of them have time for relationships, but a secret gets out. I don't know what the secret is. That's just what the synopsis says. What is this secret? But this secret leads them to start like an agreement, like a mutual no strings attached agreement of fun. And obviously feelings come into play because, you know, it's a romance. We are going to be doing sprints for this on this channel on March 1st if you are interested at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but also if you just want to participate in the discussion. The B&K Discord is always linked down below. We would also love to have you. And with that, we have my March TBR. We have 5 physical books, soon to be 7, because I do have the physical books coming in for both of these books. Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, I have the physical book already ordered. And Deep End, I'm going to the bookstore on Friday to pick up. I just haven't had a chance to go get my copy. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on the TBR. It's a doable number. And most of these are quick contemporary romances other than the Wheel of Time book. However, I do have a large stack of mandatory reads that are not on this TBR, which I'm not going to go into too deeply because they are just buddy reads. So, you know, if they get moved around, we can always move them around. So they're not like mandatory for like projects. They're just for buddy reads and other book clubs that I would like to participate in. But yeah, that's the TBR. 7 books. Doable. Come back for April to find out how it goes. And thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way to the end of this TBR video and have nothing to say down in the comments, but want to let me know that you were here, leave me a pink emoji because the book that I'm looking at is pink. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps my channel so much. And I hope you have a great day. Bye, friends.